Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of From the Top, presented by Armina Stone. I am just thrilled to introduce you. I didn't even introduce myself, but you should know by now I'm Celina. But I just want to get straight to our guest here, Natalie Beneivenga.
Wait, first of all, can we talk about that opening? Oh my God, the drama of you with the hair.
Yes.
I was living for that. I was literally living for it. I loved everything about that. I am so excited to be here. I'm so excited to be with you. You looked so beautiful. You always look so beautiful.
You do.
But the drama, the glamour, bringing it for Armina. I'm in.
Of course.
I'm in.
Course. Well, look at you today,
Well,
Natalie.
I have to come correct for you, Celina.
You look amazing.
I mean, stop. Don't stop. Keep going.
Well, I was thinking on my way over here
Yes.
today, I was like, how exactly should I introduce Natalie Beneivenga? Because you are a woman who does it all. You are really, you do.
You're so sweet.
An amazing journalist, a media personality, an entrepreneur. I mean, a cook. You're an amazing, you have your own cooking show now. I mean, you do everything.
Well, I'm just trying to keep up with you, girl. Oh, I mean, come on. Adore you forever.
I adore you. I thought I was busy, but then I look at your schedule and I don't know how you keep up with everything.
This is why we can't get coffee together. We've literally been trying, for
months.
What? Months.
We usually do like at least 2 times a year.
We do. But between all the texting that happens from week to week, eventually it ends up in a coffee. But I understood this year because you did get married.
It was a busier year than usual.
Even more so for you than usual. And I know we're not going to talk about the wedding, but I just need to say you were the most glorious bride.
Thank you, Natalie.
Amazing. And I think you should do some photos in your wedding gown here.
Oh
yeah.
I did not even think about that.
No, that needs to happen.
I would love to wear that again.
Oh, you need a reason. You need a reason. People, when they move and they're renovating and they're moving in together and they're getting married, hello.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
A special bridal Armina Stone.
It's done.
You already have the dress.
It's happening.
See?
I love it, Natalie.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Always bringing great ideas to the table, I have to
do.
say. Well, what do you think about Armina Stone here in Cranberry Township?
Oh my gosh. This is so amazing. Like even just this piece that we're sitting in front of here. What I love about this, because I got to see a little bit of a sneak peek of the showroom out there.
It's big.
It's amazing. And all of the dramatics. I mean, I love that.
Oh, yes.
But then I also am a big fan of minimalism, and I loved all the sort of the simpler, little calmer pieces. So there really was sort of something for everyone.
There really is.
But for kitchens in particular, the stones, they just got my mind turning. I said to my husband, I was texting him a minute ago, I'm like, just FYI, I may want to redo the kitchen again.
Yes, I think you need to.
I think I should.
Bring him
He'll
out.
Be so
Bring him out
excited
here,
for
Natalie.
That.
Well, Natalie, as I mentioned, does a little bit of everything. And she is speaking at a great event that we are excited about by the National Kitchen and Bath Association, NKBA.
You got
AKA. But it's happening in November 30th. It's called 'Tis the Season for Design, and it's a spotlight on students. So tell me about your role and what you'll be speaking about.
Yeah, no, I was so honored when they asked me to do it, and it's perfect timing because it's coming right off the heels of my cooking show Heating Up, which we can chat about in a minute.
We will.
If you like. Thank you. But I'm really looking forward to speaking because it's going to be an eclectic mix of the industry people as well as students, design students, which is going to be really great. So my goal is to focus on having a conversation around redefining success. Because as you know, this past couple of years now, not even past year, past almost 2 years, we've really seen people quitting jobs, losing jobs, entire industries changing and shifting and falling apart and being reinvented. And so I know you're like me, you are a high achiever. It's just type A, high achievers. Let's just put it out there.
Type A for sure.
I mean, that's who we are. But I think because of that, a lot of times we never think we're doing enough. We never think we are enough, right? I know. We've had these conversations. I know. And so for me, I really want to just talk to people about what I've experienced in the past couple of years, both personally and professionally, and how I've had to really redefine what success means for me in my life and why that is okay to change your goals, to change your vision, to change your direction.
It happened, I feel like so many people over the past 2 years whether, they did go through a bad situation, maybe they lost their job or whatever the case may be, realized, I don't want to be doing this anymore.
Yes.
I want to be happy. I want to do this. It's amazing how so many people have pivoted over the past 2 years.
It really is, because I think, Celina, a lot of people's priorities shifted,
Me too.
when people are getting sick and feeling depressed, I think you want to reconnect with what makes you feel good and whole and satisfied and contented. And so, that's going to be, I think, the topic that I'm going to focus on, because I think everybody right now can really relate to that.
Me too. Well, those are some lucky students to be able to hear from you. I mean it,
I
Natalie.
appreciate that. Well, I'm excited. I'm really excited.
So that's coming up November 30th.
Yes.
But what else is happening for people who don't follow you, because you're all over the place? Tell me about your career, how you got started, and how it led to all the stuff you're doing now.
And this is what we talked about, right? With success, I think we all think of success as this like linear experience, and we both know that is not accurate.
It's not.
It's a lot more of like this, and
then you
backwards, get there. And then maybe you get there, and then you realize where you got. You're like, maybe I want to go somewhere else. You know. So for me, my trajectory did not start in journalism or media. It started in science. So I actually double majored in college in biology and philosophy, got into medical school, and then decided not to go. And I swear my parents were the only parents, both being in the medical field. When I told them I deferred my seat, they were like, good for you.
You know what, Natalie? I can relate.
Right?
My dad has always said to Chelsea and I growing up, why don't you look at something else? Look into another industry.
Right?
Because they know how hard it is.
They know how hard it is. And so I ended up doing some soul searching in my early 20s and started traveling a lot. And I was in New York, and I met someone that was working on a media project, and I kind of took it from him. I took it home with me, and I just put red ink all over it. And then I gave it back to him, and I said, here's some of my thoughts. Because, when you're 22, you really don't have that frontal lobe part of your brain fully developed yet. So the idea that you could be overstepping your bounds, it doesn't occur to you. You're like, I just want to help. So I ended up partnering with this person, and we ended up doing something called 2-Day Mag, which was a relationships webzine. This is how far back it goes. It was in Flash, Adobe Flash.
Adobe Flash.
Which was like it was like a real webzine.
A webzine.
It was a webzine.
Wow.
But this was, like mid 2000s. I mean, Twitter was just starting.
Yeah, that's when it started.
That's when it all began. And so I got this crash course in all things media and journalism. And I started doing a lot of media work in New York.
And you loved it.
And I loved it. And I was doing a show actually on Fox News, but this was way back in the day when they had, they were doing a lot of online lifestyle programming. And the head of NYU, the medical director of NYU, Dr. Mark Siegel, he was the host of the show, and they would always bring me on as a relationship expert.
Oh.
I was like 25.
Well, that's why.
What business did I have doling out relationship
expert?
I was ahead of my time, if you will. It was very exciting.
That's how I have always described you to people. You are so wise. I always felt like that you were just ahead of your time right now.
Sweet. You're so sweet. So I started doing that, and it was going really well, and the magazine was going really well, and I was hiring all these writers and all these things. And Dr. Mark Siegel said to me, you should get some letters after your name because you're really good at this. And I said, well, I don't want to go. I just turned down medical school a few years ago. I don't want to do that. Oh, no, go get your master's in social work. Pitt's got one of the best programs in the country. It's right in your backyard.
Oh.
I didn't know that. So I applied. I got in. So I did grad school. And then at 27, I graduated and started doing therapy work with children with severe mental health. And that was like a whole new chapter of my life. I was in communities that are often neglected and marginalized in Pittsburgh, getting to understand people on the ground. Mm-hmm. And so when the opportunity to take over the scene column presented itself when I was about 30 years old, I jumped at it, and they were crazy enough to hire me.
Oh.
And that really changed my trajectory.
I think that's where I really got to know you met you, because you were at every big event in Pittsburgh. I don't know how you did all that. You were everywhere.
I can say the same for you, because I know your schedule's crazy now, but I remember when we first met, you were holding down some midnight oil right there with those late hours, early mornings. Talk about hustling, and I so appreciate that. From one Italian girl to the next. Yes. I get that. It's a real thing. So the scene column really, the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is what really changed my life in terms of the connections I was able to make, the inroads, the experiences I had. It was so glamorous, so fun. But when I took it over, it was more of a society page. And so I decided to really ground it in the work of community because that was my background, right?
Yeah.
So it was important to me that every community was represented on those pages because every community is doing such important work. And from there, I just grew it and started doing Setting the Scene, which was like a video show that I did with Sarah Bachnick.
Yeah.
And that was really exciting. And it was all style and fun and excitement around what was happening in the city. And then from that, I did a podcast called The Broadcast, which was all about amplifying women's voices. So I'd been dabbling for a long time in other media projects. And then at the same time, I had been building very quietly a public relations business on the side, doing social media, digital media work for different clients out of market. And then 2020 came, and it was just time for a change. And I always say, like, I'm the jerk that decided to leave a full-time job with benefits a week before a pandemic hits.
Even before.
It was a week before.
Oh my gosh.
But sometimes you just got to leap.
Yeah, you got to take that risk.
Yes.
And you did.
Well, but and much like me, I think you are a lot in the same way, in the sense that, like, I think you don't realize how strong you are until you give yourself a new opportunity or a new challenge.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, wow, I should bet on myself more.
Yes.
I can do
all
this. All the time. And so that was what has led me to doing much more of my own sort of style of media work. So I bill myself more now as a socially conscious journalist, trying to be on the forefront of issues that really impact our communities and the things that we can do to uplift one another. So that's where I'm at right now. And it's been really exciting and fun and a little scary.
Scary, but you're killing it. You are killing it. And heating up.
Yes.
I want to talk about heating up. I was thinking about you when I came into our beautiful showroom here, and
it really is.
You were by our big island here,
yes.
And I was like, oh, Natalie, you are such a great cook. I mean, you really do everything. We need to do something with you. You're going to be cooking on the countertops.
I would. I'm here. Like, whenever you want to have a special cooking show with Celina, I am your girl.
I need some serious lessons in that department.
I would love to give you some 101 pointers.
Tell me about heating up first.
Okay, so it's funny that this whole thing happened because when I was a kid, I did not like to cook. I was not happy to be in the kitchen. I did not want to do it.
That's me. Maybe I'll change then.
There's hope for all of us.
Hope.
Yes, but I went plant-based in my mid-20s. And at the time, nobody thought that was cool. You were like a social pariah. It was like nobody was interested in having you at their dinner. But now I'm very hip. But
you are hip.
That's not a word I would use to describe myself, but that's okay. But back in the day, like, you couldn't go anywhere to eat, right? So I had to teach myself to cook. But it was the best thing that happened because, when I think of like how incredible these countertops are, for example, and the person that's going to look at this and design an entire room around this piece of stone, there is such a gift in that ability to design. And I'm an artistic, creative person, but I can't draw. I can't look at something and imagine. Right? But I bet you there's a little Italian cook in you somewhere. I think we just got to bring her out. We just got to bring her out.
B would love that you're saying this right now.
Grandmas are like they're my heart right here. So
I think you're right, though. Sometimes I surprise myself and will make something decent.
I'm sure. And so it's actually, once you get over the mental hump of it, it's really fun. So when I was out there looking at that beautiful kitchen display, I was like, oh, I could have some fun out here.
Oh, yes.
And so that was kind of where the concept of heating up came from. I really wanted to combine plant-based cooking around conversations at the dinner table with thought leaders focused on social justice and climate change, because
I love it.
It's hard to have hard conversations, right? And it's not comfortable, but everybody needs to eat. And I think, as you know, food is such a conduit.
It really is. Right? And being in the kitchen, that's usually, it's a comforting area.
Yes. It makes people feel safe and alive, and it brings them back to their cultural roots and their childhood roots and all of these beautiful things. And so my plan was, let's do that kind of conversation mixed with that kind of cooking, because it's another way for people to engage with climate change. Anybody can make a plant-based meal, and you're reducing your carbon footprint. If you just do that once a week, that's something that you did to help solve the climate crisis, right? So I think looking at things and breaking them down into something that's bite-sized. You're welcome.
Oh,
you're welcome.
I like that.
But breaking it into little pieces that people can digest. I don't keep meaning to doing this, but it just keeps happening. So I'm going with it.
Keep going. I love it. I'll just sit here and listen to you all day.
I love you. But I think when you do that, it invites people into a conversation that they otherwise might not feel a part of. And one of the things I've always admired about you and your incredible work is you're so inclusive and inviting with your energy.
Thank you, Natalie.
No, it's true. And the way that you work in the community, you're always trying to invite people into that space. And I really admire and appreciate that on a professional level and also a personal level.
Thank you.
Yes. So you definitely inspire me. And so this project that I co-produced and co-hosted with Leandra Mira, who is a Gen Z youth climate activist. And I met her a few years ago and I interviewed her for a piece that I was doing for the Scene column. And so her and I connected in that way.
Oh.
It's been really cool to have this sort of intergenerational millennial Gen Z experience. But we've had people from all walks of life and all experiences on the show as our dinner guests. And I'm just so proud of the work and proud of what we did. And every week when I watched it with my husband, who had never seen it, because I edited it, right? So it was my editor, my friend.
So you do it all. You even edit it afterwards.
Oh, yes. So my videographer, John Craig, who's phenomenal, we would work on the editing process in the back end, and it was intense and laborious, as you know. But when you see that final product with somebody that hasn't watched it,
it's so worth it.
And they're responding to it so positively, it warms your heart. It makes you feel like you're doing good in the world. Yeah. And so to me, to get to be on a show like this with you, who brings so much good to the world, and this show that gives a space for that to share those good things, it's really invaluable. And that's the power of media. And if we harness that, we can really bring people together in the spirit of doing things that are healthy and helpful, which is really what we want to do.
You're so right.
Because journalists are social workers.
They really are. And that's why your background, I mean, it's amazing how at first you weren't really sure the path you wanted to go, but then you just kept taking different steps in different directions. And then look how everything combined.
Well, isn't that funny too? Because I've looked at, when you look at your own trajectory, I think you can say the same thing for yourself, because sometimes you're in the middle of it. And you don't see
what is happening,
where it's going. And sometimes you're like, what am I doing with my life? You have that existential crisis in the shower, wherever you like to cry. That's my place. Yeah. So you're having those moments, but then you take that step back and you look and you go, oh, this and this and this and this made no sense really at the time, but now I see.
It all makes sense.
Yeah. So that's kind of
like the breakups in your life.
Oh, girl. Oh, I know. But you have to do that, right? So then you know what you don't want.
It's so true. Where can our listeners find Heating Up?
Yes. So it's called Heating Up, and you can watch it on YouTube, Heating Up Show. That's how it's listed on YouTube. And you can also check it out on Instagram, Heating Up Show, and on Facebook, Heating Up Show. Yeah, I'm very excited about it. Thank you for the opportunity. And of course, if people want to connect with me, like you were saying, I'm everywhere, but most often you can find me easily on Instagram at Natalie Beneivenga.
That's easy enough.
Well,
I wanted to also bring up, so we also, I feel like, got to know each other even better through Pittsburgh Today Live.
I'm so glad you're bringing this up. I was hoping we would get a moment to discuss our glory days together.
You do such a great job, because you filled in hosting on that show. You still do segments on that show all the time. So I think the PTL community loves seeing you on that show. I mean, we love having you on there too.
I have to tell you, one of my most favorite memories was definitely with you, because you and I, when we got to host together, I loved it. The most fun.
We didn't shut up.
We didn't. God help us. But it was so much fun. But I remember we had this in the opener. We were talking about like secret signals to our partners, and it was so funny, and I still think about that, and I always had such a good time with you. This is what I mean. You're so warm and inviting.
Oh, so were you.
It was the best.
It's the Italians.
I think so.
The Italians. But we had such a blast on there, and
we really did.
You were on for so many different segments you've done, and
I love the family
Natalie
at PTL.
is one of my favorite things.
Thank you.
Because your advice column, and
that was kind of fun and very random the way that happened as well, because
I know, but you give such great advice.
Thank you.
I mean, it's very fitting.
I appreciate it. It was one of those things at the Post-Gazette where I came in as the scene editor, and then a year later they were like, hey, by the way, do you mind also doing this column? And I was like, sure. And then it really just kind of took off. And now it's like you were saying, it's syndicated. You can check it out on uexpress.com, the letter U.
uexpress.com.
Yes. And home of Dear Abby and Miss Manners and all the goodies there. And it's just been such a joy and a pleasure to get to have that platform, because Celina, people really write in with like,
what's like some of the craziest questions?
Goodness. A lot of questions. Just when what always tears me up is when people are having sort of these existential crises around their marriages or around family. And that really, it really ramped up during COVID, because
I'm sure it's challenging for you too, to want to give the best advice.
It was funny because I still to this day, I will email people personally and send them my personal thoughts before, because a lot of times when I put the letters out, I'll change facts because sometimes they're so detailed. To me, I'm worried that this would be identifiable. Yeah. So sometimes I'll change genders or details enough. But I'll always write the people back personally. And sometimes I've had email exchanges with people, especially a few years back when I was still more engaged with therapy work, that I really felt compelled to be a part of, their space and their solution. And so it really means a lot to me. It's not a space where I'm making fun of anybody. It's much more honest, thoughtful advice. I really take it seriously that people wrote in. That's very brave.
It is brave. Putting it out there. That's
oh
hard.
My gosh, it's not easy. So I really value people's trust in me. So that's been a very special thing to get to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you could find that all over the place.
That's true.
Natalie.
Yes.
I need to write into you sometimes. I guess I could just text you, or
me.
call you.
Any of the above.
The other thing, I have so many questions for you,
God,
Natalie.
Keep going. I love it.
You were mentioning earlier, I know you have a lot of great clients in the area. And even I remember one time, now that I'm thinking about it, we were trying to get together, or I don't know what we were talking about. And you were off to Denver.
Yes.
Because you had a client out there. So, I mean, your network is huge.
Yeah. I've just, when I started at the scene column and I sort of, like I said, changed the direction of that space, someone reached out to me that's now the CEO of the Steadman Clinic and the Steadman Philippon Research Institute, which is a huge orthopedic hub in North America. And he said, I really like what you did with Scene. Can you do that for us? And so I was like, oh my goodness, that's big. Big. And I didn't, it's funny when you look back, I don't even know if I was actually ready for that, but you don't say no. You jump and you go, I'll figure it out. I'm an Aries. I will make this work.
You're an Aries. And you did.
And you do. And so I still to this day handle all of their social media accounts. And
so cool.
It's so exciting. And so I get to go to Vail a few times a year and I do interviews with the
Vail,
doctors.
that's what it is.
Well, you fly into Denver. You weren't wrong.
Oh, good.
You weren't wrong. I mean, the fact that you even remembered that I was in, I just love you. You're so sweet. You are so sweet. But yeah, so I get to travel a little bit, and they usually send me somewhere to follow the doctors around for at least a week, somewhere cool around the country.
That is so neat.
Yeah, so it's fun, and it gets you thinking about other places and ways of living and being. And I've met so many contacts, through that work that had led to other roles and responsibilities, which has been really fun. So I'm really grateful that somebody took a chance on me. And I always think about that when I'm working on a project. Who can I pull in that I can take a chance on? Because I think it's really important to pay that forward, especially with people that you find that have potential, that maybe just need a little love and a little nudge, a little confidence boost,
Oh, that's too great.
I try to think of it that way.
How do you keep up with all the clients and all the social media work you're managing for people?
So I'm working with 2 other people at this point. So Yes. My business partner, Sarah Bachnick, and I really started tackling this together more recently, which has been really thrilling, and that helps a lot.
Yes. And she's great too.
She's phenomenal. Yeah. She's phenomenal. And then we just hired a 3rd person as well, part-time, which has been really great. And we'll just continue to build out and grow. And that's been fascinating to have these sort of 2 businesses going, like the media work that I do independently, and then this other work doing public relations and marketing. But I really enjoy it. And when you're doing journalism work, you are public relations. You're relating to the media thing and to the public every day. So I think we naturally have a great inclination of understanding where media is going, where it's been, and how you can translate messages to everyone because the power of communication, I don't think there's anything greater than that. And it's a huge responsibility.
You're so right.
You know, and that's
so
why we need more
true.
Celinas in the world.
We need more Natalies in the world. I love it. Well, that is funny you say that too. I think about that all the time. And some of the work that I do, I mean, really, I got to understand it more on Pittsburgh Today Live. And you would get this too, just because we're doing such great community work. I feel like we really tried to tell good stories on that and spread the word about, we don't have bad news on there.
No,
you
and
will
that's
not
the beauty of it. It's a sunny spot.
It's a sunny spot. And then that's when I started to realize, you know what? I really like representing companies because it is a sales show as well. So, we do paid segments. And that's when I was like, I like representing really good companies. I could do this.
Absolutely.
And Armina Stone.
Hello.
Armina Stone is the best. I don't know if you noticed
where we are.
Yes. And I mean, this is just the best place. And so you're right. It's funny how different things in life lead us to our destinations.
I think also recognizing your strengths, right? Like you started to understand what you were really good at, what you could tap into from both a professional space, but also personal fulfillment, right? Because it can be very difficult and challenging to navigate that,
I know.
especially in these times. It can be scary to take a risk, but I am not in any way surprised. I remember when I first saw that you were working with them, I was like, yes, like that's my girl. I'm your biggest fan outside probably your mom and your sister. Okay, that's fine. I can take like a backseat to them. That's okay. But I've always thought like you're just so charming and special and you are sunshine.
You make me feel good.
No, I'm telling you,
the time.
Literally, people have said to me, "Is she really like that in real life?" I'm like, swear to you,
it's too much.
Lisa,
my mother. This is all Lisa.
Lisa
the animated
did the right thing. Okay, passing that along to you because it is. You are just so joyful, and we do need joy in our lives.
We do.
I don't think people are tapped into their own joy anymore. So to get to share in that, and you take a little bit of that energy home with you. It's really important. So I always tell people, no, she is just as much of a doll in real life that she is when you see her online or on TV. She's a joy. And you just are. Wow. That's just reality. Can I talk about this ring really quick?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Wait. I
wait.
know all about this ring, but wait, can we talk about this ring?
Yes. Here it is, everybody. You know what? I saw this ring. So we love Lucas Pyatt here at Armina Stone.
Yes.
Lucas and Emre, very good friends, and his wife Renee.
Love Renee.
This is a Renee Pyatt ring.
I thought this was like.
No, well,
I mean, it's stunning.
I loved it because it reminds me of Samantha's ring on Sex in the City.
This is what I was just thinking.
When she bought it.
When she buys and she's like, I've made it.
Then Smith, I think, bought it for her and she was all mad.
It's stunning.
But I saw it.
I love Renee too.
I love
her jewelry is amazing.
I know.
She does really great work.
We'll have to have her on one day.
Oh my God.
Not Lucas.
Whatever.
Well, Natalie, before we go, I mean, we are 27 minutes into this. I could honestly sit here for like 2 hours because
this is why we need our coffee.
I know. I just love hearing. We'll do a part 2. Natalie,
I'm in.
part 2
anytime, and we'll do a cooking segment.
Oh.
Exactly.
Do it in the kitchen. It's happening.
That'll be fun for your production team. Just set this all up in the kitchen. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
Don't worry.
Well, I have one more question I want to ask you because you do so much.
Yes.
You do great work in the community. You're happily married. You have a great personal life. So what advice would you give our viewers to really having a fulfilling life, but making sure you have that right work and personal life balance?
I think that's the same advice I would have given my younger self, which is slow down. You're going to get where you want to go, but prioritize what matters. Because, when I, as you know, my dad passed in 2019 and then my grandmother shortly after. And that was a big turning point for me because I was always going 150 miles an hour and I wasn't even really sure why. And I don't think I really took time to take stock and the gratefulness and the gratitude of what I had currently. And so now each morning when I wake up, I say to myself just 3 things I'm grateful for, and they don't have to be profound. It can literally be
coffee.
Oh, I did yoga yesterday. My back doesn't hurt. I'm really grateful for that. Like these little things. And I swear, as you build on that sense of gratitude in your everyday life, things start to make sense and your priorities start to make more sense. And it's okay to rest. And it's okay to take a moment for joy. You will get where you want to go. it will happen, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen on your time.
Oh, that's the best advice.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what's your advice for your younger self?
If
you looked back 10 years ago to that young bright-eyed girl,
doing hard news in Steubenville, Ohio, with my big camera and equipment, one-man banding at a meth bust.
Hey,
that's mostly what I covered.
Someone's got to cover it, okay? Okay.
I love what I do right now. Let me tell you.
It's a different world.
Oh, Natalie, let me think. I would have to say something similar.
Yeah.
Because I think I love working hard, and my dad is such a hard worker. So I've always tried to emulate everything that my dad does, in his really professional and personal life. But I think with him too, and he has said this to me before, he likes to be involved with everything because he loves people. He can't say no. That's how I am too.
I know.
So I think my biggest thing would be that it's okay to say no.
That's a complete sentence.
Right? That's it. It's okay to say no, Celina.
Yeah. No is
no.
Look, but I think that's a great
I have
thing
a hard
to
time doing that. I just yes is what I say.
But I think that's a good motto for 2022.
Yeah. Me too.
You're allowed
to
say no.
To say no.
And spend more time with that hubby.
Yeah.
That handsome new hubby of yours.
Well, Natalie, we always end the show with a little singing.
Oh.
But you do everything, so I feel like you will be a pretty good singer too. It's real easy. All we're going to do together is sing the jingle. Ooh, Armina Stone.
I love that. Okay.
Okay, so I'll count us down. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, Armina Stone. Oh, that was great. What a good voice. You could do everything, Natalie Beneivenga.
You make me laugh so hard, Celina. I love you.
Part 2 coming soon.
Definitely.
Bye, everybody.